Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the We the Locals podcast. My name is Josie.
I'm Jessica.
And we got Stu pushing buttons over in the corner. Hi, Stu.
Hello.
And we thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you could please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and this episode, we greatly appreciate it. Maybe hit the little share button and send it out to a few friends, a few neighbors, a few people who might be interested in hearing about all things local. And I'm also going to start off by apologizing for my voice. I probably will get squeaky as the night goes on. I have had a lot going on, and I have been talking a lot over the last week or so. So I'm recovering my voice, trying to keep it here. So if it gets a little squeaky, if I get all agitated, I apologize. I'll try to lower my register a little bit. Anyway, so what's up? We're at war.
Yeah. So we're at war.
We're at war.
Municipals are next week, Tuesday.
There's a lot going on, but not a lot going on at the same time. It's really weird. It's very international right now, I feel like. And then next week is when the local stuff will pop off.
Yeah, we're not done with session when it comes to state stuff, so there's not a whole lot going on there until they finalize some more bills. And
when does session actually end? It ends in March, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it should be ending where are we? What's today? The 3rd?
Today is the 4th.
It should be ending next week, I think, right?
So I think it's the the 3rd week of March or something. I don't know the exact date that it ends. But it does look like the House and the Senate are in negotiations with the budget. They have not come to terms.
Reminder for last year that they went an extra almost month, I think, to be
They went
session.
over 100 days.
Was it that much?
I think is what it ended up being.
My question is this: if it goes longer, because didn't the governor already call for a special session to do redistricting?
Yes.
So if this goes over, will it push that back?
I don't know how that works, or if it goes simultaneously. I don't know.
Because we're on a time limit for redistricting. If he doesn't get redistricted by a certain point, you can't do it because of
I think it's
qualifying.
March. I think it's April. I think it's by the end of April. Is what they would thinking that they would have to have those lines redone. Now, first of all, I'm sure that all of that stuff is already being worked on.
Oh yeah, we're not that smart that we're like, hey guys, and they're like, what? We didn't even think of that. We're not that delusional about ourselves and our powers of foresight.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're kind of working on all of that so that as soon as the extra session gets into play, they already have something to come forward with. And so the state or the House and the Senate has not agreed on a budget, so they cannot close session without a balanced budget. And they're close. They're off on just a couple key points. So we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. And then we'll be able to see what's allocated for Palm Beach County. And we'll be able to kind of go from there. It's a little, like I said, it's a little crazy, but yet it's really kind of quiet. And
we're kind of like in this waiting. There's like nothing going on this week. And then next week, it's all going to start. It's going to be like, boom.
Yeah.
Fire hose of news.
It's like the first quarter, you're dealing, everybody's dealing with municipal elections and everything. Again, March 10th, if you haven't made a plan to vote, make sure you vote. You can only vote in your registered precinct and there's no early voting. So kind of keep that in mind. So
unless you're in District 87.
For the special election.
Yes. Is it 89 or 87?
87.
It's
89.
up north.
87. No, hold. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude.
I should know this. It is, there's the special election. If you are in that district, then there is early voting because it's a state level seat.
Yeah, but that doesn't include your municipals.
No, but they'll do it all in the same, it's all the same ballot.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense.
So if you are in a municipality that's also in that district,
87.
87. So you can vote early if you're in that district because it's the same ballot.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. And then, so very interesting. So first time that I decided to vote by mail, and I only voted by mail because I live in the city of Boynton Beach, so there's no candidates on the ballot, just ballot questions. And so I I put my ballot in the mail on Monday afternoon. They came and picked up the mail. I got a text yesterday afternoon that it was received and ready to be counted.
Nice.
So I'm like, I received a text and an email that my ballot was received. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So it's like,
securing your ballot.
Yeah.
I forgot to request my vote by mail again. I kept thinking it should come. And then I started doing the math in my head and I was like, oh no, I think I needed to re-request it. And I forgot to do that.
It's been a little
bit. I missed my window. It's been a little bit chaotic in my world.
It's always chaotic in your world, Josie. It's okay. It's always chaotic in our world because, everything is ran by other people and we're just here for the ride trying to figure it out.
Well, there are things that I do run.
Right.
But then I have to run. So,
good point.
Like, we just celebrated. I just got to give a shout out. We just celebrated the holiday of Purim, which is one of my favorite holidays, which is the story of Esther. I'm sure I've talked about it on the show before. It's the story of Esther and how she goes before the king of Persia at the risk of her own life to ask for her life and the lives of her people. And he grants the request, and the evil Haman is hung on the gallows. And I just love it because for two reasons. One, Esther says, Mordecai, her uncle, says something very important to her. He says, you do not know that you have been maybe placed in this position for such a time as this. And so even as a young child, that sunk really hard into my mind that I've been placed for such a time as this. And everything that we are doing here, all of this is we've been placed here for such a time as this, for this time, for this season, for what is going on and going forward. Now, and we all have been, every person on earth has been placed here for this time. It's no accident that we're in this time of history, I guess is my point. I used to read about, medieval times and British history. I was obsessed with British history as a kid. And, would read about King Henry and all this. And I'm like, oh, it's so romantic. It'd be so wonderful to live in that time. Why didn't I live in that time? Oh, Lord Almighty. As I got older and really understood, no, thank you.
No. I'll pass.
Yeah, I'm good living within. And so it's such a cool story. And then we saw what happened. We were all holding our breath. Oh my gosh, the war is going to start on Purim because how just cause apropos that the same spirit that Haman had to murder Jews and to destruction really is the same spirit that Khomeini, the names are even almost the same, had. And it was quite the celebration that we had, celebrating not only the death of our enemies 2,400 years ago, but the death of our enemies today. And our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the soldiers who have fallen. One of them was a Florida boy. Shout out to out to his family, but it's it's really crazy to watch. It's really crazy when we took a step back this weekend and as we were celebrating and reading, part of the requirement to celebrate Purim correctly is to hear the story or read the story of Esther. So we take that step back and we're reading it and we're this is we're living it again. And so yeah, it was just super cool, and I'm excited that that all of this, it's weird. It's a weird feeling because nobody's ever excited for war. I'm not excited for war. Yeah. That's not it. It's that we have a president and a secretary of state and a secretary of war who are willing to do what it takes in order to free the captives, to free people, but to protect us. Yeah. Protect Americans, to avenge the blood of our American soldiers who have died at the hands of these barbarians. And it's awesome to have that.
Yeah. And I think, we do talk a lot of local stuff here, and that's really what we focus on. And also at the same time, there is a bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And we always have to kind of take in that bigger picture and kind of understand our position in it and what it means. And I find it very interesting because there's a lot of people on the right that, oh, America first, we shouldn't be doing this in Iran and all of this kind of stuff. And it was very interesting because I think it was the day day that Trump went back to D.C. He had just left Mar-a-Lago. So I think it was Sunday that he flew back to D.C., if I'm not mistaken. And, he, was walking back into the White House, and you have like all of the reporters and stuff that are always standing there yelling questions at him and everything. And they mentioned something about, oh, so why did you go after Iran? And he actually said, he says, they tried to take me out twice and missed. I don't miss. And I was like, and it hit me in that moment. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this is America first.
Oh,
this
it absolutely is America first.
This isn't, because I was very much kind of thinking like, oh, this is the the military industrial complex trying to get, a war started and trying to make it where we're in war for midterms and all of this kind of stuff. And because it's like you're always looking at, all the sides of the story, so to speak. And that it's just been one that has been regurgitated for so long. And to actually be like, no, we're putting our foot down because the last two presidents gave them money. And now we're in the situation that we're in because of poor
leadership.
Decisions.
Poor leadership.
Of
kowtowing to dictators.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened is they kowtowed to the dictators.
Right.
And like I heard a clip, I think I was listening to Ben Shapiro's today, and he played a clip of President Trump back in 1980.
Oh yeah, I love those.
1980.
Yep. Was it the one on Oprah?
I don't know. I was only listening to it because I was doing because my kitchen, I hadn't cleaned my kitchen in a few days because I've been running parties and celebrating. So I took today like a couple hours to just like clean my house and like pull myself together. So I had my headphones on. I was working. So I don't know if it was Oprah, but it was President Trump talking about how, because after 1979, when the hostages were taken under Jimmy Carter, and the American hostages were taken, of the embassy, the storming of the embassy, and it was just botched, hot mess expressed by Jimmy Carter, and they were held for months. It was so bad, and he was like hypercritical, and he's like, no, we should have gone in and rescued them. We should have these people are terrorists. So he back in 1980, he was like, these people are bad, and we should not let them be in charge, like dictate to us what they should do. And he even said on the campaign trail, I don't know why people are surprised that he's doing this. He literally said on the campaign trail, I will bomb the F out of them. Like he said this. I mean, I'm sorry. This is what I voted for. Promises. I'm not sorry. Promises made, promises kept.
Even Hillary Clinton said that she would bomb Iran in 2016 or 2015 when she was running for president.
So he said this. Trump said this a couple years, like last year before he got elected. 2 years last year before he got elected. I will bomb the F out of them if I have to.
And for people who don't like Donald Trump, I always find it so interesting because I'm like, he has touted the same thing since the 80s.
Yeah, he's the same person. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, it's like, I think I've mentioned this before. Like, I've always, I don't want to say like a Trump fan, so to speak, but it's like, I was always into, pop culture and watching, like soap operas and daytime television shows. And so it was like, he always did all of the daytime talk shows. He was always on everything.
He had The Apprentice. Like,
so it was like, and these are things that I've been hearing for decades now that I'm like, he hasn't changed his story on a lot of
bomb
these
the
things.
F out of them.
Yeah. It's like the American people are getting taken advantage of. They're getting extorted basically for everybody across the world, and our own senators and representatives are stealing from us, and states and everything else. And it's like, it's time to stop and bring everything kind of back to a central location. And what I also understand, is what's really great too is Marco Rubio. He is knocking it out of the park.
He is my favorite. I voted for Rubio in 2016, and I cannot wait to vote for him again. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he has got to be the best Secretary of State that we have ever had.
Hands down.
Ever had.
Hands down.
The way that he is able to articulate what's going on, how he is able to say, when he was talking about revoking student visas.
Oh, yeah. I heard that today. It was a phenomenal clip. I was like, get it.
And I'm just kind of like, finally, people in this administration having balls to say, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. And Kristi Noem was in a hearing this week too, and I think it was Senator what is his name? Coons said, can you promise that ICE agents will not be at our precincts or, our polling locations?
Why would you be scared of an ICE agent at the polling location?
Right?
I'm not scared. ICE can stand out. ICE can pat me down to go into the polling location. Right? I do not care. You know why I'm not scared of them? Because I haven't done anything illegal.
Exactly. So Coons was like, well, will you promise that they won't be there?
What'd
And she goes, are you expecting illegals to vote in our elections, Senator?
What did he say?
And he just was like, I'm reclaiming my time.
Oh my gosh, how often they say that. I wish I had $1 every time they said, I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time.
And another little national news, Jasmine Crockett is gone.
She's gone. So, ding dong. The witch is gone. The witch is gone. The wicked witch, ding dong.
So federally, there's a lot of moving going on.
Right, that's why it's
there's
like a lot
internationally,
and there's a lot federally. Exactly. So, we're definitely praying for all of the soldiers, praying for the Israelis. Oh, so the mastermind behind the 2 Trump assassinations was taken out by the IDF.
Yep.
So you want to be complaining and kvetching, oh, what's we're doing for Israel's? Nope. Israel took him out for you. Okay?
And Palm Beach County helped pay for it to be able to do that.
And Palm Beach County helped pay for it. High five. All we do is win. I read on X, it was like was it Saturday right after things popped off? It was like Saturday. I think it was Saturday right after things popped off. Someone on X was like, listen, after winning the gold medal Sunday and this happening and this going on and Khomeini dying as soon as like pretty much like within the first 12 hours of this happening, we're really feeling ourselves here in America. And I was like, we are feeling ourselves. Thank you very much. Listen, and again, like I said, war is never good.
Never.
Not happy about the loss of life, but there's a concept, and there's a podcaster there's a guy whose name is Raymond Ibrahim, who I highly recommend if you're interested in history listening to. He talks a lot about he's a Coptic Egyptian Christian, I think he was born in the U.S., but his family's Egyptian Coptic Christian, and he talks a lot about Middle Eastern history, the rise of Islam, Islamic studies and stuff. And so this is his wheelhouse, right? And so he was on there and he was talking about Winston Marshall had him on to talk about the Crusades, and they talked because he has a new book on the Crusades, and it was very interesting because he talked about like from a Christian standpoint, like what a just war is, what the Knights Templar, who they were, and a lot of it I knew because I lived in Israel and been to the Templars tombs and all that stuff, but it was just really fascinating. And he talked about like all of this, and so he talked a lot about how Americans, like, our view is very squishy. We're like, oh no, all war is bad. And he's like, and that's not how how the world works.
Right.
And so definitely if you're interested in history or interested in like his point of view is very interesting, really good history and really good, interesting thoughts. So Raymond Ibrahim, very good. And, but I think about that. We're all like, oh no, war. And part of it is because we've been in war for so long, the Iraq wars and the Afghanistan wars. And
for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, there's always been something.
Been
so I get it. He's like, I get it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can just write off all war.
Yeah.
Because as long as there's people who want to kill us, we have to defend ourselves.
They're literally chanting in the streets, "Death to America."
Like, we have to defend ourselves, and they have killed us, and like thousands. And like you even look at like the proxy wars in a lot of the funding for the mullahs and stuff from the mullahs to Afghanistan and that killed our soldiers. Like all of that came from Iran.
Yeah.
Like, would we in the last 25 years been as much war if Iran hadn't fallen? To this in 1979? I don't know. It's a good question. So maybe Trump's just finishing what Jimmy Carter didn't do.
Yeah.
right the first time.
Yeah. Well, and then it's, of course, everybody screams the oil, the oil, the oil. And then it's like Trump is then put in an executive order to make it where all oil can come right through the Gulf now, to try to like,
And protect it.
It's like, okay, we have this problem. We're going to fix it, and it's like there are effects and there are consequences to big decisions. And, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't make the decision.
Right. And that's what having good leaders, we go bringing it back to like local stuff. They don't make decisions. They a lot of times don't make the decisions. Just why we're in the issue that we're having in Boca. A lot of places are facing it. How do we fix this? How do we pay for this? How do we do this? Because they just didn't make decisions. They're like, we'll just wait.
Yeah. And, we've talked about it so much on this show, our municipalities, they're in budget shortfalls and they're having issues because everybody that sits in those leadership positions, whether it's on a city council, city commission, or county commission, or however you want to, whatever government entity you want to talk about, is that they've been afraid to make those tough decisions and they've just kicked things down the road. And then there comes to a point where there's statutes and limitations that get involved. And then it's like, you have to make a decision and you have to do something. Mm-hmm. And so then it's like, you're putting all of the current people in this situation that have,
they had nothing to do with getting themselves into it, but then now they have to they're the ones, it falls on their shoulders to make it execute.
And the thing that comes to mind, I was going to say, the thing that comes to my mind when I say that is Milani Park. And it was something that was done decades ago that's been in this process. And then when it got into the limitations of like, you have to do something now or we're going to lose it all. Then it's like,
and all the money that's been into it for the last couple of decades.
So it's like you have county residents that have been paying into the fund to be able to fund this park for a long time. And we run a balanced budget here. So a shovel doesn't go in the ground until the money's in the bank account. Mm-hmm. And so you have to realize that it takes time to be able to do that.
Right.
And good accounting and being good stewards of money and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that there's not things that could be changed and things that can be improved. But as the county is now in talking, and our cities, I am going to harsh on it again. It's budget season. This is the time that cities are supposed to be looking at these things and evaluating these things and taking things into consideration. I know Boynton Beach is letting go of like $500,000 in salaries. They're letting people go or demoting them or whatever. And I guess they're looking at like about a $5 million shortfall. I haven't spoken to Commissioner Turkin or Manager Dan Duggar to get some more information about this because it's municipals and it's a little crazy, but that's something that I want to pay attention to in Boynton Beach, and then you have you have some issues going on in Delray, and you have issues going on in Boca, and there's Wellington. There's a lot of things that are going on that it's like it's impossible to pay attention to all of it. Mm-hmm. And you get lost in the weeds a lot because it's like a lot of times like you start to look at something and it goes down the rabbit hole and you find out 10 other things that you weren't aware of. And so is what I found is being like just an observer of it all and not trying to dictate or become so emotional about it. It's really about being the observer and watching and making good decisions in your life based on what's going on around you. And the more informed that you are, the better decisions that you can have. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes across the line. And so, like I said, there's a lot of federal and national stuff that's going on. We try to stay as local as possible here. But we're in the kind of a little bit of a downtime here. So we're taking the opportunity to kind of let you guys know what's going on. One thing that I don't think that I mentioned that the county rolled out was our neighborhood dashboard. I didn't talk about this before, did I?
I don't think so.
So on the county website, they have a Your Neighborhood dashboard, and I'll try to do screenshots and show it up on the screen. So when you're watching this, you should be able to see it. But you can actually click it and you can type in your address, and it tells you like who's responsible for your roads, who's your local officials.
What's it called?
It's called Your Neighborhood Dashboard.
Like a website or an
and
app?
it's right on like the banner, and when it comes across, let me see if I can find the actual website so that we can, let's see. Yeah, it's just pbc.gov/neighborhood. And you enter in your address, and I don't know if we could see it on the screen.
I'm doing it right now, but you won't be able to see it on my screen.
Because, like, if I just put in my address here, and then let me make sure this loads up. I'll try to turn it around and see if you can see it on the camera.
Don't put your address.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here it is.
But it
tells you my commissioner, my house, my Senate, state house, state Senate, the government building, my voting precinct, the supervisor of elections, the state attorney, public defender, general Palm Beach County.
I don't know if you can.
Boards and committees.
It's got a glare.
Clerk
I'll try to
and
take a
comptroller.
screenshot so you can see. But it tells you like what precinct number you are. It tells you
resident services, Palm Beach County information, housing, community, library, connect.
Like your public safety, like who's your police department? Are you PBSO or are you, your municipality? Are you, like
your evacuation zone?
Yeah.
I'm zone E. I was zone F. Guess I got rezoned.
It like even shows like.
And it has links to different things. So like the DART, which is the disaster awareness recovery tool, which is we use during hurricanes. You can download that from here. Oh, this is cool.
Isn't this cool?
All the phone numbers are clickable.
It's like resident services, transportation, taxing authorities.
Advisory boards and committees.
Yep. It gives you all of this stuff. And
this is cool.
I love that Palm Beach County is really starting to be more.
There's phone numbers for all of these. So, like, if you want to call your U.S. House representative, there's a 561 number here.
Yeah.
State cool? Senate or U.S. Senate 561 number. Ashley, you can call Ashley Mood. Oh, they need to change update. Oh no, she is the senator.
Yes. She's the senator.
Peggy's numbers here. Tina Polsky. Has my voting precinct. Click the link above for address and more information. And it has the link to the address of where I vote. That's so cool.
And then like there at the very bottom, it says like transportation. You go down, it says nearby roads. Who's responsible, by your house, who's responsible for those roads.
Oh, my closest airport. Well, the airport, public transit, Palm Tran, rail, seaports, nearby roads. Here it is.
The library, you service it. Like it has anything you could possibly think of is like on this dashboard.
This is cool.
You can literally type in your address and it gives you all of the information about where you live. And I just think that it's so cool that I just wanted to share that.
We'll drop the link in the show notes.
Yes. And I'll pop it up on the screen too so you guys can see it. So, so great things happening, as far as I think the biggest thing that we have heard, and I had a meeting with the marketing manager from Indian Trails Improvement District a couple weeks ago. And talking about the importance of, taxing districts and all of that. And it's like, the common denominator that, we kind of talked about is that everybody says, well, I didn't know. You didn't tell me. And it's like, in so many of our municipalities and taxing districts and stuff are like, short of us going to your home and knocking on the door and letting you know, like, how else would you like us to inform you? And it's like, I talk about this budget season every year when budget goes to be finalized, as I'm like, they have been talking about this for months. You just haven't been paying attention. Or when it comes to the SOE office, everybody was complained about the cost and everything. And I'm like, well, that got approved in 2019. If you would have been paying attention in 2019, when it came through planning and zoning, you would have been aware of all of this. And it took, from 2019, and I think it just opened this last year, so in 2025. So I'm like, it takes time.
It's really nice.
It is. So it's like it takes time to kind of see how all of this comes to fruition. There's the data center that's, Project Tango is a big hot topic right now. And so, it's like this is, some of that stuff has already gone through the approval process and some of it hasn't. President Trump did sign an executive order, I think it was yesterday or today, making it that electricity fees or energy fees cannot be increased because of a data center. So, pay attention, Palm Beach County, because that actually may help. And that I think DeSantis is saying no to a lot of this stuff too, and making sure that the taxpayers aren't paying for it. So there's a lot of things kind of going on. And it's really important to pay attention because you're responsible for your own self-governance. We've mentioned this several times. Nobody's going to come to your door and tell you everything that's going on in your city or your town, your county.
We're doing our best we can.
Or and it's like, and we started this podcast because we knew that it was hard to get information and kind of understand what's really kind of going on locally, and having like that 1,000-foot view of somebody just kind of saying, hey, you may want to pay attention over here and you may want to pay attention over there. So we do the best that we can, but we can't cover it all. And also at the same time, like, you have to be kind of stewards of your own life and try to figure things out and ask questions and go to forums. I know there was a big forum about Project Tango. Right now candidates are having a lot of meet and greets. You're going to be able to meet your candidates and stuff that are going to be on your school board in August, or, your ballot in August, or coming, in the primary. And that's one thing too, is a lot of people don't understand the primary process at this point. And so I think we need to kind of dive down and educating that. I've been pushing this as far as the Republican Party for a while about educating people on the primary process. I think I'm finally getting some people to hear me. So we'll see how that happens. Because I'm like, I know a lot of our residents and a lot of our voters think that they don't have to participate in the primary process because they don't know who the best candidate is. They haven't done their research. And so is what they do is they count on the people who they think know, the people who really know what's going on, but they don't really know. These people that are voting in the primary elections really don't know who the best candidate is, because is what we found, and especially in my experience of doing this for 5 years now? Oh my God, 5 years now.
6.
Is like, I'm like
6 years.
I'm like, oh my goodness, we need to understand that just because somebody likes us and pays us attention doesn't mean that they deserve our vote. And when you go through the primary process, and a lot of these primaries happen and they go in their echo chambers, so it's like they're only talking to Republicans, because that's the only people that can vote for them in the primary process.
Yeah.
We are a closed primary state, which means NPAs can't vote for who's going to be on the primary, who's going to be on the November ballot. So that also then means that a lot of MPAs stay home in August when they could be voting for their school board candidates.
Mm-hmm. Or beaches and parks.
Yes. And so we have so there's just a lot of education that needs to be kind of done still. And so, which we're making inroads on. And I think, Josie, let's talk about where we are as far as Republicans versus Democrats in Palm Beach County.
Okay. So fun fact. And Governor DeSantis pointed this out. He said that in November of 22, Palm Beach County did go red.
Yep.
It didn't stay red because in November of 24, it missed the red mark by, I think, like 5 points or something like that for President Trump. Right. All the other races were kind of a mixed bag, but I think President Trump was 5 points, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it was less than that.
It might have been less than that.
It was it was like 1 point.
Maybe it was 5,000 votes.
Yes, it was very.
There was something about 5 in my head on that, and I can't remember what it was. It was not very big, but it was not the margin because DeSantis took it by a lot in 22. Granted, that candidate was terrible. The Democrat candidate, Charlie Crist, is a terrible candidate. So, you know, I mean, I don't know if he was worse than Kamala Harris or not. I couldn't tell you. But anyway, point is the voter registration where it's skewed at the last check. The Democrats was out registered the Republicans by 138,400 voters, registered Democrats, and now that number has shrunk to 12,662.
Yeah.
So the majority that the Democrats have in Palm Beach County over the Republicans is 12,662 votes.
Which makes it, excuse me, which makes it that it's anybody's ball game here.
Yeah, because the MPAs come in and go, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yep. The MPAs are the most educated voter base that we have in Palm Beach County, in my personal opinion, because they're the ones that actually do their due diligence. And 9 times out of 10, from what I've known in the last few years, I'm going to say, is that the right candidates usually end up winning the winning the races. In a matter of speaking, there are a few there's a few anomalies when it comes to like a couple of the really close races that Republicans should have won, like Daniel Sabata's in 89.
Yeah, he only lost by 1,000 votes.
Yeah. So, and then Sam Stern.
Yes, state attorney.
You know, so that where I could, you know, and everybody claims fraud and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know, so there is fraud. We know that there's fraud, whether it's, you know, purposeful or whatever. We don't know. We don't know all of the details. We don't see that data, but we do know that there are fraudulent votes that happen in Palm Beach County. So when you look at that, those races where the Democrat came up ahead may have played part into it, but a lot of the other ones they did not.
When they had such a wide margin. When you have such a wide margin, you're like, that's a question.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so the big thing that this tells me, aside from the Democrats are losing people right and left, is that we as Republicans have to be even more vigilant than ever, because what is going to happen is, and we've already seen it happen and we've talked about it on the show, but now with these numbers, it's becoming more and more like realistic that we're going to have Democrats that come here and carpetbag, and they're going to change their party. They're going to try to run. It's a Republican. We're seeing this now. So let's talk about if you're okay, like we can tie this into the governor's race.
Yeah.
There's a big brouhaha happening now between Senator Jason Pizzo, who was a former guest on the show, and James Fishback, who was a candidate running for governor. So there's been a lot of shady questions about James Fishback and everything from him being accused. This is all stuff that's on X. I cannot claim that these are things that he did or did not do. So I'm just saying these are rumblings or rumors about him.
These are things we've heard.
This is the tea. We're still in the tea of things we've heard. Cannot confirm or deny and are not accusing anybody of this. Saying that there's been accusations to him of underage, of abuse, of harassing an underage girl, and then him not being claimed. All the things that he claims for his job is not true. He was not as high level as he was. He was not as successful as he was at his job. But the biggest one, I mean, those are all big. But a big one as far as legality goes, none of those things are illegal per se to keep you off of a ballot. If you haven't been, he's not a convicted felon, which doesn't even keep someone off of a ballot, actually,
right.
As I say that. But his eligibility is that you have to have lived in Florida for 7 consecutive years before you can run for governor. And he has lived in D.C., filed taxes in D.C., voted in D.C. So
he's calling out Senator Pizzo, when in reality is that Senator Pizzo is just saying, look, you shouldn't really even be on the ballot.
So Senator Pizzo's filing what is he filing? An amendment? He's filing something.
I think it's just a statement saying that he shouldn't be,
shouldn't be eligible to run.
Yeah. So, I believe that that's up to the state of elections board that would then determine his eligibility. So I think that
he's starting to make the rumbles.
Yeah.
The rumbles about that. And, so it started a firestorm on X, is all back and forth, and everyone's all a Twitter about it. But the truth is so that's an example. So he sees it's an opportunistic moment. We're about to have a power vacuum because our governor is termed out, and he's been in a Florida is on the, we're at the top. We've got all the things happening here.
Yeah.
And it is a ripe place for Democrats to want to take out. They want to take it down, and opportunists. So like there's two kinds of people who kind of will take advantage of this situation. There's, again, like I said, the Democrats who are like, all right, we need to try to fight back. We're not going to take this lying down. They want Florida back. And then just grifters and opportunists who are like, ooh, I can make a name for myself, or, oh, I can make money, or, oh, this will be a stepping stone for me to go to my next thing. And we have to watch that, because they will come here and say, oh, listen, it's not hard to sound like an America First. It's not hard to sound like those things. All you have to do is say them. Doesn't mean anything. So Fishback is like dazzling all these things. Everyone loves what he's saying, He's not saying anything crazy. He's not saying anything that isn't new. Yeah. He's not saying anything new. He's not telling anybody how he's going to do any of the things. A lot of the things he's saying is actually illegal. You cannot force, there's so many things he's saying that I'm like, can't force parents to, like, for the uniform thing. Like, you can't force a lot. Like, you can't do that. Like, it's not going to work. And it's not going to be worth the time it's going to take. And he just says things for the sensationalist of it. And that tells you that he doesn't really have any substance. He's just a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
And he needs to go away because he's annoying me. And he's an anti-Semite, and he needs to go away.
It's very interesting. And what Josie is saying is true. And then also is that there's the people that have been Democrats that are here that we're talking to as far as candidates go that are actually really very conservative. Mm-hmm. They've just been in that tent because they're like the blue dog tent, Kennedy type Democrats. So, there's people that, we actually, approach and say, hey, we see how you lead. You may want to consider switching to a Republican because you actually match those values. And instead of us, instead of another Republican or anything running against you, would you consider changing your party affiliation? And the Democrats had done this for a long time. They knew that some of our Republicans were way more electable, but because they had an R behind their name, they couldn't get elected. So they were like, well, we'll let you run as a Democrat for our party and get elected. And now this isn't anything that's happened really so much in like the last 5, maybe 10 years. Mm-hmm. But before that,
there's always happening. The rumors of like people who would run and they're Democrats and be like, yeah, but they're really a Republican.
Right.
Yeah, but they only ran as a Democrat so they could get elected in Palm Beach County. And then, and I think evidence of the fact that Palm Beach County has actually been a pretty well-run county.
Yes.
Now, that being said, I am not saying that all of the Democrats who have been elected have been good Democrats at all. So I want to make sure I'm not going to have that come back and bite me in the tush. But there have been ones who you're like, okay. Because like I said, Palm Beach County is a pretty well-run county, besides COVID.
Yeah.
Besides COVID. And that
which was what got us, got a couple of us involved.
That's what flipped the county to Republican,
yep.
Really, I would say. Yeah. Probably
got
COVID.
Me off the couch and got me involved. So I'm definitely part of switching some of those numbers around and getting more Republicans elected. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But this governor's race is going to be very interesting, and this is why it's so important to vote for our primary, because you want whoever wins that primary to be able to win in November. And
not just win in November, but be a good governor.
Exactly.
Like it's I think if anything, what 2020 showed us was that we were a hair's breadth away from being California.
Yep.
Like literally. For those of you who are new to Florida and did not live here in 2018, Governor DeSantis got elected by the hair of his chin. It was a runoff. It was a recount.
Yep.
It went to a recount for the governor's race for the state of Florida. And had it gone just a tip the other way, what is it? We're standing on a precipice of the knife, and the knife could go from Lord of the Rings, and it could go one way or the other. Move but an inch, and it'll all be disaster. I think it was Gandalf. Anyway, that was where we were at, and we were this close. And so I don't think that we're there now just by the sheer numbers of the Republicans who live here.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe that whoever wins the Republican primary will most likely win the governor's race. So the primary is going to be the race.
It is going to be the race.
So we have to be involved. We have to vet our candidates. We cannot just say because Trump endorsed. Okay? Don't rely on anyone else's endorsement. Do your own research. Follow these people on social media. Hear what they have to say. Try to go to events. Try to go places where you can ask them questions or talk to people who have talked to them. The races are a little harder to reach, which is why Fishback is trying to do the whole grassroots thing. Show he's a man of the people. He's not a man of the Floridians. He's a man of the DCers, swamps.
Good point.
But he just annoys me when he talks too.
I know.
His voice annoys me.
He's a little geeky little dude.
He's a little twerp. That's what he kind of like got that little twerp vibe going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of the thing. And he says again, we cannot, as Jessica said, we cannot let our emotions be pulled, and that's what's going to happen in this governor's race because people are going to get like it's going to be like DeSantis versus Trump all over again. And that was really bad for us as a party. It was really bad for us as Floridians, and
we still haven't recovered.
We still haven't recovered. Everyone's like, "Oh, but Trump and DeSantis made up." I was like, "Yeah, but their followers haven't.
Yeah,
their supporters have not.
No.
They have not Trump kissed and made up."
No.
And we have to do that, guys. We have to think about what is the best. We have to have conversations about it. If you think James Fishback is the best thing since sliced bread, you need to tell us why, and not just because he's America first. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? At this point, I want to know. There's so many of these like freaking groyper idiot heads who are like, America first, America first, America first. What does that mean?
Right.
Does that mean that we have no relationship with the rest of the world? Does that mean, no, I'm sorry, we are the superpower of the world. And if we are not the superpower of the world, China will be the superpower of the world. And I particularly don't want that.
Exactly.
So
because when you deal with the geopolitics and
we're not an island.
Exactly.
Like I don't understand why people think that. Like you can't. Isolationism has never worked.
Nope.
For anybody. You know what isolationism does? It causes your empire to fall.
That's true.
Well, that's why there's so many rising and falling empires. I, for one, want to be on the rising, not the falling.
And you know, it's like, and what Trump wants for America, he wants other countries to have for themselves.
Exactly. He wants the Iranian people to be able to walk out of their street with their hair out.
If that's what they want to do.
Exactly. and to send their children to school and to have the freedom to live their lives and be prosperous and be themselves, not become American. He's not building an empire where he wants to take over it. He wants to enable them to be the best that they can be.
He wants the Iranian people to take over their government.
And that he said that.
Exactly. And to prosper. You know, that's what it is. You have all of these things to be a prosperous nation.
Yeah.
Stop trying to go after America and build your resources and develop your country to be successful. Yeah. That's really what it's all about. And, you know, and that's a trickle-down effect because is what happens is when that's able to happen, and even here in America, in the United States, is what happens is that our local municipalities get to do the same thing. They get to do what's best for Boca. They get to do what's best for Del Rey. They, you know, like, and we mention this all the time, like what's good for Boca isn't going to work in Green Acres, you know? So it's like, you have to be able to separate things enough to realize that, you know, things operate differently and that it's not always going to be the way that you think, but just because it's not the way that you think, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. You have to be able to step into an observer role and look at the inner picture, but also the bigger picture that creates everything that keeps us evolving forward. And we get stuck in our little echo chamber over and over and over again and get so stuck in our ways because of our emotions. And the human behavior side of that, you know, I'm a life coach and I study human behavior, is that when you get stuck and you're recycling the same things over and over again, it is because of the fact that you will have to do something about it if you think it differently. And most people are so uncomfortable with having to make a decision or do something about it that they would rather just sit back and complain.
Right. And that's how we end up with bad candidates.
Yes.
So let's not do that this cycle.
And I think this cycle, it's going to be a little bit different, because I was a little scared at first because we had a lot of the same candidates coming out of the woodwork that have not been able to get elected here. And that ends up being frustrated, because even though, and I want to preface, they are good people and I think that they mean well. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying that some of these Republican candidates that have come out and have decided to run are terrible people. It's the fact is that when you do strategy and when you look at the big picture, you have to see, is this person electable to the masses here? Palm Beach County has 1.5 million residents, and it's like, what, 800 and some thousand voters. So it's like, how can you create an image and a message that's going to win over a majority of that crowd? And some of our candidates just are not able to do that. And again, it's not because they're bad people, and it's not because necessarily they would do a bad job, but you have to get there. You have to be able to win the election. And at this point, some of our candidates just are not able to do that. And when you see the same people in the same races over and over and over again, it's fatigued. Your voters get fatigued. They're like, I voted for you 3 times. I donated to you 3 times. You can't win. So it's like, at what point, and I use Lauro Diaz as an example of this. Lauro Diaz ran in 2020 and he ran in 2024 for sheriff. Now, I would love for him to run again in 28 because I think he's a great guy and I think he would make an excellent sheriff. But he tells me, he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, but I think you can win. And he's like, I have asked the voters to vote for me twice already. I cannot ask them for a 3rd time. He said, it's just not okay. He goes, it's just not the right thing to do. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, a guy with integrity that's like, hey,
that's what makes you want him to run it. Makes you want him to run again. You're like, yes, but you're the right person.
I know. And I'm like, but it was my fault you lost that first time. It was my fault because, in 2024, like I, wish I had a little bit more information about this or the other. And the president was kind of, on our neck a little bit, like trying to make sure that Bradshaw got in there. And I'm like, there were so many in there, and he's just like, I love you, Jessica. No.
No.
And I'm like, okay, you have to kind of respect that aspects of things. And we have Deb Ademi and we have Dan Francis that's running for CD22 again. And I'm like, this is their 3rd time.
Their 3rd?
Yeah, Deb Ademi, this will be her 3rd time that she's ran, and Dan Francis.
It is their 3rd, isn't it?
Yeah, they started in 2022. And so, and they keep continuing to lose. Now, we had a meet and greet for David Burke. David Burke is running for Congress for CD22. He is a Marine Corps veteran, and he was a police officer for the West Palm Beach Police Department.
Ooh, like the West Palm?
Yep.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. And
the name sounds so familiar.
And he actually was involved in Charlie Kirk's Turning Point for a long time. So he's involved in the Turning Point organization. And he is, he's a young guy. He's got a young family. His son's name is Sterling, and he's like 10 months old. He's adorable. He's cute little chubby cheeks. And this guy is the real deal. So be sure to check him out, David Burke. I'm working on his campaign. So for full disclosure, I'm tapping, that information in, but I want to make sure that I'm being transparent and honest. But the reason why I decided to work on his campaign was because he is the real deal. Because I have seen what he's capable of being able to do. And this meet and greet, when he did his little speech, it was phenomenal. But when he did the questions, just question, he was phenomenal. He just knocked it out of the park. And his big thing is, life, liberty, freedom, property. Like, he is all about it. The only thing I kind of disagree with him on is, he's all for, kind of developing us as a county and, But his district is kind of designed for that, so it does make it a little bit, it's a touchy subject, because at the same time is that, there are things happening in West Palm, in the West Palm Beach area, that things are really growing and developing and bringing in new companies and what's the word I'm looking for? Nikes. I just lost my I don't have no idea. So but like I said, if you're interested, please check him out. I think that you'd really enjoy. I think you'd like what he has to say, and that's what I say about all of the candidates that I work for, that I recommend. Is I'm like, just talk to him, ask him questions. I think if you got to know him, you'd like him just like I do, and if not, let me know. And let me see what I can do.
We need that for my district.
Right?
Just because of redistricting, I feel like it's going to make me only have one option. And I don't want that.
I know.
So more so because of that. Because I think right now as it stands, I think the district does have some good options.
Yeah.
But if it gets redistricted to what we think it's going to be, then there's no good options. It's
going
to go from a couple to none.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah.
And that makes me really sad because I'm not going to do it. I won't do it. I won't. I can't.
I can't.
I just will leave it blank. I've reached the point here. So let me say this. It is, I have never believed in leaving a ballot blank because that's a vote for the person you really don't want.
Right.
But I also I've reached this point in my political life where there are certain people that I just do not think I can bring myself to vote for. Like a vote is not just against another person. It is for someone. Mm-hmm. And there are some people like, okay, I'll be perfectly honest. In 2016, I've said this multiple times. I voted for Rubio in the primary. I really didn't care. I didn't know a lot about Trump. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know what was going on, but I hated Hillary. And so I was definitely like,
right,
this is a vote against Hillary. Like, I don't really care who the Republican is. This is a vote against Hillary. But I've also reached this point too, especially I think knowledge is dangerous. It's like, we're like educated. But now that I know some of these people, I'm like, I just don't think I can do it. Like, because then that gives my nod to them in some way. And there are some people that my mom always said, hold your nose and vote for. There are some people I'll still do that with, but then there's some people that I'm like, I don't know that I can.
I mean, when you're involved in the Republican Party, there's a loyalty oath. You're supposed to make sure that you vote for, the Republican candidate and all of that. But really, at the end of the day, is that's the only power. If you're true to your if you're true to your loyalty oath, is what I think it comes down to, is that's our only recourse is an undervote. To really say, no, the Republican Party did not bring forth a good enough candidate that earned my vote. That's the way I look at it. I felt that way in State House 90, like the candidate that they put forth just couldn't earn my vote, and so there's consequences to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm so like. I do think that is not the end of the world. You have to weigh it. That because what you're doing is you are also saying, okay, if the person I really don't want to get elected gets elected, how upset will I be? How bad will that be? Because you helped to make that happen.
Right. But also when it comes to our state and our Senate seats, though, it's interesting because of the way that it plays out here.
What do you mean?
Because if a Democrat actually wins, they really don't have anything that they can do without Republican support.
No, but in Congress they do. Congress is where that matters.
Right, that's different. So when you're dealing with the Florida House and Senate, though, because we hold the majority, the supermajority. So even if a Democrat does get into one of those seats, they have very little power to be able to do anything. They have to get Republican buy-in on their bills or whatever. Deborah Tendrick's good at this. She likes to get she's really good at getting Republican buy-in on a lot of her bills and stuff. And she, placates and she's like, I'm really more moderate and all that kind of stuff. And
she's not. I sat in a forum with her. She's definitely not moderate.
And so, but these are the things that she touts. So it's like, and she keeps tagging me and stuff, but that's another story.
She wants you to sing her praises. She's going to probably watch this. Now we're going to both get yelled at.
Yeah, probably.
Please don't yell at us.
She'll text me or something probably. So, which I'm not afraid to have conversations with anybody. I mean, we had Pizzo on this show when he was a Democrat still. I mean, now he's an
it's such
MPA.
a fun episode.
But
I highly would recommend going back
yeah,
and watch
of all
that.
of our episodes, that was like one of the best ones I think that we've ever, had. And so such good conversation that led out of it. And now that he's an MPA, I'm like, it's just divine.
We called it too.
Yeah.
After that conversation,
Yeah.
we were like, he's not going to stay a Democrat.
You heard it here first on, We the Locals, because we talked about it. And I remember asking him that question, why a Democrat?
Yeah, you did.
So I'm like, So the way that it all played out was pretty perfect. So,
Excuse me.
like I said, we've kind of talked a lot about some stuff, but I do want to kind of go over municipal elections are the 10th. So I do kind of want to go over a few key things when it comes to the voter guide. And so I'm just going to pull this up. The voter guide was sent out to 45, the Republican Party of Palm Beach County did send out a voter guide to 45,000 residents in Palm Beach County. So you should be expecting those in your mailbox, I think, Friday.
Good. To go along with the 800 other pieces of mail that I kid you not. My kids go check the mail and they come in and they drop. We're working on putting the mail where it goes, but for some reason, especially if there's something for them in the mail, which they write letters to people, then they'll just drop the rest of it like on a pile, like right there by the door. And I'll look over and they'll be, I kid you not, I think there were probably 6 Boca mailers today. I get a couple for one Boca support vote yes on the thing. Candidates. I got a voicemail. They're driving me crazy.
March 10th
cannot come soon enough. So
let's just kind of go in alphabetical order and we'll kind of go through this pretty quick. So hopefully you get a voter guide. If you don't, if you're an NPA or you're a Democrat and you want to lean Republican, this kind of tells you who those candidates should be. So Boca for mayor, both Republicans is Fran Nicholas and Mike Liebelson.
Fran Nicholas.
What we have determined is Fran Nicholas is way more conservative.
And qualified.
To be able. Mike doesn't seem to know what position that he's running for, and he has no idea that this is not a strong mayor city. And that I think that's been our biggest complaint.
Not only that, he's a hypocrite. He said he's literally sat on a dais and said that day one of his administration,
which isn't a thing,
which is not a thing, that he's going to make sure that there are no more variance conversations that happen, which he can't do. And meanwhile, he's requested a variance because he built his house in such a way that broke Boca law.
That he had to get a variance
or have his house torn down or his walls torn down or some such nonsense. So he's just a hypocrite and he's pretending that he's also, this is another thing I found out about him. Sorry. He keeps saying that he doesn't take PAC money, but he has a PAC.
That's probably taking PAC money.
How else is it being funded? Himself? Why would he need a PAC if he's funding it himself?
Yeah. Good question.
So sketch on that dude, and if he becomes our mayor, we're gonna start a recall petition.
So Council seat B, we have Mark Wigder. He's the only Republican that's running in that seat.
Mark is a good dude, incredibly smart, knows his stuff.
Yes. And then in CA, you have Christian Ritchie and Michelle Grau, both Republicans. Christian Ritchie is the one I think both Josie and I are supporting in that race. Now, Michelle seems to be halfway decent, but the thing of it is that she's not standing out on her own.
She's allowed herself to be put into that slate.
Correct. And I think that was a bad move for her.
Yeah.
And she should have actually ran for seat D, which I think we talked about this before. Christian Ritchie, she's been around for a long time. She knows the city very well. She lives here. She lives in the city.
She's been on the Planning and Zoning Commission for a couple years. So she really knows the city. She knows the laws. She knows the projects. And not only that, she is a divorce attorney and a mediator. So she really knows how to bring people to the table to talk and to talk through things. So she's very good at that. And so that's a skill that I think that
we're going to need
after all of the shenanigans that goes down. So I really think she's got the skills and the passion to to make it happen. And she's the only one, as we brought up, if you didn't watch our episode on the Boca Forum, but to point out, as Jessica pointed out, she was the only one who brought up on her own, without even being asked, the concern about property taxes being taken away from the city.
So she's looking ahead.
So she's looking ahead. So she really is asking the and then what questions.
Yeah, which is like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's amazing, because none of these people had any idea what that means.
Right. And then Council Seat D is the Republican in the race is Robert Reinroth. People may remember him. He was the mayor of Palm Beach County that we yeeted in 2022, and he was a Democrat at that time.
So we'll just leave it at that, but there is opportunities to use your undervote. Just leave it at that.
And then Delray Beach, we have my favorite candidate in municipals is Andrea Kaiser. She's running for Council Seat 2, which is taking over Rob Long's seat because he got elected for State House 9D. Andrea Kaiser, she is knocking it out of the park. If you haven't watched her or seen any of her videos, please go to her website and to her Facebook page and listen to her forums. She's just very educated. She knows what she's talking about. And her Democrat opponents are Looney Tunes. They are freaking crazy. That's all I got to say. So, Andrea Kaiser for Delray Beach. Green Acres. District 2 is Peter Noble. And District 3 is Judy Dugo. Those are both incumbents. I know Judy Dugo just got a bunch more endorsements. I think she got the Hispanic vote. I think she got fire and police, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm hearing she's been doing a great job in Green Acres. So please reelect Peter Noble and Judy Dugo. Juno Beach, Marianne Hosta and Scott Shaw are the Republicans in that race. Marianne Hosta is the incumbent. So if you like what's going on in Juno Beach and what's happening, make sure that you reelect your incumbent. Seat 3 is Eddie Gottschalk. I think I mentioned him the last time that I was on the last episode. I went to a meet and greet for him. Very smart guy, very invested in his community, and he really wants good things for Juno Beach. We have Loxahatchee Groves, which is Todd McLendon, is the incumbent for seat 1. He's the only Republican. And then Robert Sullivan, District 5. That's Loxahatchee Groves. We have Ralph Mascasco for Lake Park, running for mayor there. In the city of Palm Beach, the village council, the incumbent is up for election, who is a Republican, which is Lou Crampton. Royal Palm Beach, we have Selena Samos, which is in council seat 1. She was on the council. She left the council to run for mayor. She lost. Now she's running for another council seat. We do expect her to win that seat. Palm Beach Gardens is an interesting race. There's a lot of things going on in Palm Beach Gardens. My understanding is that council isn't very transparent. They don't do a lot of things above board, so to speak. Not necessarily saying that it's shady or that anything nefarious is going on, but they're just not open with a lot of their information. So take that into consideration. As Heather Deichman is running for Group 3, and Damian Murray is running for Group 5. I do not know if they are both Republicans or if one's a Republican and one's an NPA, or they could both be NPAs. If there is a Democrat, it's because they are the most conservative and there's not a Republican running.
Yeah.
So kind of keep that in mind too. Palm Beach Shores, Stephen Smith is the incumbent. And then Anastasia Cactus or something like that. It's a Greek name. I can't pronounce it. I apologize. And you have Tony Lembo that's running in Palm Beach Shores. South Palm Beach, this is the best little thing. So South Palm Beach, for those that don't know, it's about 3,000 residents. 1,500 of it is only full-time residents. So it's a small little thing. It's an eighth of a mile. And these people don't even have like campaign websites. You know, it's just a small little municipality. So you have Bernice Fisher, Monty Berendez, I think it is, but Monty is his first name, Sandra Beckett, and I think it's Elvidine Culbertson. But these are like little old people that are just trying to save, just keep their little piece of heaven in that 0.8 of a mile in South Palm Beach. And then you have Wellington. You have Josh Zimmer running for seat 3 along with Stephen Levin. And then council seat 2 is Johnny Meyer that's running in Wellington. If you go to the Palm Beach, the Republican Palm Beach, gosh, I can't even talk about it. The Republican Executive Committee of Palm Beach County, if you go to their website, and it's not Palm Beach GOP. Let me try to see which one it is. Hold on. Oh, it's going to make me do that. I don't want to do that. If you look at the Republican Party of Palm Beach County Facebook page and website, you can find the complete voter guide. But on their Facebook page is all of the little municipalities have been broken down, and there's links to all the candidates' websites. So you can literally pull up the post, click it, and you'd see all of those candidates. So if you're living, I think there were two or three cities where the candidates didn't have their own websites, but a majority of them did. So like if you wanted to check out Andrea Kaiser, you would look at the Delray Beach one, and then you'd click where it says her website and it goes right to her information. So that's your Palm Beach County Republican voter guide for municipal elections for March 10th, which is this coming Tuesday. And so that's what I have at this point for municipals.
Yeah.
That's the rundown.
We'll see how it goes. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. Our next episode will be the week after that, though, I think,
yes.
right? Because it's next week. But we'll post results on X, so make sure you're following us on all of our socials so you can hear it from us. Maybe we'll do some live takes depending on what happens.
Where we are,
what's going on. I will say, everyone knows my opinions. And
if you're interested in our opinions and our pick lists,
you don't know our opinions.
You can email us at wethelocalsfl@gmail.com.
And we did do a whole breakdown of the candidate forum and which candidates we thought. So I did. I had a couple people I've sent that to have asked me for it, and then asked for the forum to listen to it themselves. So if you know someone who lives in the city of Boca that is on the fence about who to vote for, not sure what to do, and like more information, please send them those 2 links. Just so that they can make a more, we broke it down. We gave our opinions, but we also broke down pros and cons for a lot of the candidates. And
I think we ran through every candidate, actually.
Yeah, we did. I think we absolutely did. So, there's a lot of information. We'll see what happens. Yeah. And, one thing that I thought was interesting, was the House Education Bill. Oh, yeah. Just want to say this. I was scrolling X earlier today, and a bill popped up for a next episode. I'm going to have more bills that we should of things that are going on, and just didn't have a chance to go through them all before going live tonight or going to recording tonight. But this one was interesting. It passed the House, and it's a bill to reserve 95% of freshman spots for in-state students for higher education.
I think that's awesome.
I think that's awesome. We pay for it. It comes from our taxpayer dollars, fund those education institutions, and they should be for our Florida residents. And I love that. Agree. So gives our kids a chance if they do want to go to college, which we all know how I feel about that. But if they want to, a better chance at a spot, and they don't have to duke it out for someone who is trying to come to Florida. Right. Out of somewhere else. So, which I think is good.
And the pushback on that the institutions say is, well, we can charge more for out-of-state students. And so it becomes a revenue issue. And this bill is saying, we don't care.
Pretty much, because pretty sure you guys have plenty of money.
Yeah.
Just saying. And if you don't, maybe you should cut some of your stupid departments. Basket weaving should not be a degree class.
I was just going to say that. That was exactly what I was going to say.
Basket weaving?
Was basket weaving. I was like, you may not be able to use that basket weaving degree. And there was a lot of things that, like, there was a lot of discussion about holding these universities accountable to the degrees that they offer. Like, is it
a real money making degree? Like,
right.
Because the promise is, and I'm a millennial, so we were told, thankfully was directed to not have to do this path, but my generation was told, go to school, graduate high school, go to college, and you'll get a good job, and you'll have the dream that your parents had, the boomers had. That's what we were told.
Yep.
And guess what? That is not what happened for the millennials. And so they sold us a freaking bill of goods.
Yep.
And thankfully, my parents didn't buy into that, but so many people did. And it has been, I think that's been one of the, millennials have lived through a lot of crap, right? Like, there's a lot of things that have gone on in our very young lives. Very young.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Shoot, thanks. I forgot about that. Thank you. Yep.
On Monday.
Yeah, it was Monday. Oh, no, it was Sunday.
It
was Sunday.
That's right. Sunday.
In our very young lives, a lot of things have gone on, but I think this is probably one of the worst lies we were told, and it's just now we're all saddled with debt up
and
the
wazoo.
Food
pyramid.
And the food pyramid. That's true. I never believed the food pyramid. I was raised eating from Whole Foods before Whole Foods was cool. None of my friends ever wanted to eat at my house because we had weird food. And now all of those same friends are like, oh, yeah, that's how we feed our kids now. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, right.
But yes, the food pyramid.
Just saying.
But yeah, it's true. But yeah. So I think that's really good. I would like to see universities should say, if you're going to come to our school and get the degree and follow the whole path that's put out before you, you should be able to graduate college with an actual viable degree to get a job. Otherwise, it's not the place for you.
And if you are going to give a student loan for $250,000 for a degree that you're not guaranteeing
in basket weaving,
that you're not guaranteeing is going to have a lucrative income, why can't students get a $250 loan instead of going to college, but to start a business? Mm-hmm. So it's like you can kind of see how, like, this has only been made to benefit the universities, because at the end of the day, they're going to get their money one way or another, and they don't have to be held accountable.
They don't care. Yeah, they don't care that people graduate with $250,000 in debt. There's no way they're going to be able to pay off until they're 50.
Right.
Like, they don't care.
No,
they got their money and they said sayonara.
Yeah. They were like, well, you shouldn't have taken that class then.
700. I will never forget. Nick had to take classes. So our first year that we got married, we were both working, and then he lost his job, and I was making pretty good money. And so I was like, all right, how about, and he was like, I don't know, maybe 2 years, maybe a little bit less, like a year and a half away from graduating. And he just hadn't finished. And I was like, how about let's just go to FAU? Like, go to FAU. You've already been accepted. Like, just start taking classes and we'll all work and you finish your degree, right? We paid out of pocket for because he has student loans from before when he was in school. But I was like, but we're going to pay for it out of pocket. He was like, absolutely. We agreed we were going to do that. So we were paying for it out of pocket. So we were paying, I don't know what it was, $5,000 a semester. He was taking, mind you, he's in his like third year of college. This is not like prereqs. And even if it was, he was taking film class where he would go to school and watch a movie. And I was like, I'm sorry, we are paying $750 for you to go once a week to class to sit and watch a movie and then talk about it and write a paper. Like, are you kidding me? I almost lost it. I was like, I already was like, college is a scam for a lot of things. That made me be more like, this is a freaking scam. This is such a racket. Like, you're not a film student. This has nothing to do with a business degree. Like, what is this? It made me so mad.
That's so
BTW, funny. He still didn't finish his degree. I got pregnant. The rest is history. He got a job, and here we are.
Always the babies.
But you know what? Thank God he has a need. Like,
guess what? I didn't go to college.
I didn't go to college.
I'm a CFO that runs a $100 million company that I'm trying to quit from that they won't let me. Of quit 3 times.
They won't let you quit.
They won't let me quit. He calls me today and he's like, do you know how to do this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I'm like, I'll figure it out. But I did not graduate high school, and I get this all the time. People call me for the stuff all the time. Like, you know how to do Yes, I know how to do things, and that's because I just worked in all these different ways.
Figure it out,
and I figured it out.
And it was, but it's all a scam. It's not all a scam, but it is. It got very scammy.
Yes,
it used to be that way. It used to be that was the way, the path to do, and then they were like, oh, we can do a lot of crap and make a crap ton of money.
Yeah, and they can indoctrinate our kids. They can have a whole cultural
academia became
revolution.
bought. It was bad.
Yeah,
and like this is the thing too. Like I've been watching all the stuff about the war in Iran and what happened. And there's a woman. Shoot, can't remember. I can picture her face, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Her family escaped. She tells the story of how she got out in like the back of a pickup truck while the bullets are flying over her head. Like they got out of Iran and came to the States, and she's a doctor. And she said the thing is that it started with the Red-Green Alliance on college campuses.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
And she said that's why for the last 2-3 years when this since basically October 7th was really when the Red-Green Alliance started, which is, for those of you who don't know, red is the communist color and the green is the Islamist color. And so the Red-Green Alliance is the Islamists and the communists coming together and somehow putting all their differences aside to sell us all a bill of goods and say, da-da-da. So she's like, so that's what happened in Iran and leading up to the revolution in the 1979. Was all the college campuses. Oh, why are people equality, affordability? Why are people in the streets homeless when the Shah lives in a palace? Why are people this when this is happening? And this guy that got elected on the Democrat ticket in Texas, the senator, I can't remember his name. He is why is wealth is just stealing from the poor. Elon Musk is just stealing from the poor. Like, he doesn't need to have all that money. That's just obscene. And I'm like, red flag. Like, this is what she said.
Step back.
This is it. This is why we have to be watching what's on our college campuses and having bills like this that keep it. The colleges and universities are for Florida residents, and we're going to restrict the ability to indoctrinate students, to allow things like the Red-Green Alliance to take place on campus, because that's what's going to prevent the fall of the West. Really.
It really is.
And so it all starts here at home in FAU, down the street. That's what bringing it back local.
Exactly. So we talked about a lot of different stuff today. Anything you want to end with, Josie?
No, I think I'm good. Just praying for all of those affected by the war, and our prayers are with you and your families, and pray for it to a swift end and a good end, and the return of the Shah to Iran to bring freedom to the people there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting midterm year, that's for sure. Yeah, as all of this this is gonna come in, and it's gonna trickle down, and it's going to affect us here locally with a lot of the decisions. And it starts with making sure that we have good representatives. So please pay attention to local elections and what's going on. We're gonna do our part to be sure to educate you as best we can on the primary process as it's happening here locally. So be sure to follow us on all of our socials. We're on Instagram, X, and Facebook at We The Locals or We The Locals FL. You'll be able to find us. You can go to our website if you're interested in donating, subscribing, or checking out our channels. You can go right to our website at WeTheLocalsPodcast.com, and you can get all of that information. From being a sponsor, the donate button is down at the bottom. We'd appreciate any help that you can give us. You can email us if you have any questions, concerns, anything that you want us to bring to our attention. You can email us at wethelocalsfl@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, and be sure to have a good night, everybody, and stay local.
Bye.
Bye.